My name is Eleanor Mendelson. I'm 68 years old, and my only child stared me right in the eye and told me I was disgusting, that my presence repulsed her, that she couldn't even bear the sight of me. Those were her exact words. But what she didn't realize was that while she was uttering those awful things to me, I had already made the most drastic decision of my life to sell every single thing I possessed, vanish without a trace, and leave her to ponder what she truly lost that day. This is a story that will permanently alter how you communicate with those you cherish, because words once spoken can never be undone. Stick with me until the end, because what you're about to hear will teach you that some things can be forgiven, while other things are forever destructive. And please, tell me what country you're from, because I want to know if there are daughters anywhere else in the world capable of telling their mother that they're repugnant. It all began half a year ago, when my daughter Haley, 32, moved into my home with her two kids after splitting from her husband. I had been living alone since my husband Frank passed away 3 years prior in a large five-bedroom house we had bought together back in 1980. When Haley sought my help, I didn't hesitate for a moment. "Mom," she said, "Michael left me for a younger woman. I've got no house, no money, nothing. Can I stay with you until I get my life in order?" Of course she could. She was my daughter, the mother of my 8 and 12-year-old grandchildren. My home would always be her sanctuary. The initial days were wonderful. After 3 years of solitude, hearing children's laughter again, voices in the kitchen, and the television in the living room brought me back to life. Michael and Sarah, my grandchildren, raced throughout the house. They asked me to tell them tales. They assisted me with watering the plants in the garden. I felt valuable again, significant, indispensable. Haley seemed appreciative. "Mom, I don't know what I would have done without you. You're a lifesaver." She cooked for me, did my laundry, and tidied the place. It was like having a complete household again, after years of existing like a phantom in my own residence. But just after a fortnight, the criticisms began. "Mom, why don't you trim your nails more often? They look unsightly." "Mom, could you bathe more frequently? Sometimes you have a peculiar odor." "Mom, that blouse is so dated. It makes you look unkempt." At first, I thought she had a point. Maybe after years of living alone, I had let myself go a little. I started paying more attention to my personal grooming. I clipped my nails twice a week. I showered daily. I purchased new clothes. But the criticisms didn't cease. They got worse. "Mom, you make so much noise when you chew. It's off-putting to eat with you." "Mom, when you walk around the house at night, you wake up the kids. Could you move more quietly?" "Mom, that cough of yours is so annoying. Can't you cough in a different room?" Every comment was like a painful jab. I had begun tiptoeing in my own home, eating in complete silence, holding back my cough so as not to cause a disturbance. I was becoming a ghost for the second time, but this time it was because of my own daughter. One afternoon, while I was outside tending to the roses Frank had planted so many years ago, I overheard Haley talking on her phone with her sister, my other daughter who lives in New York. "Yes, Patricia, I'm living with Mom, but it's dreadful. You have no idea what it's like to live with a senior. Everything about her irritates me. I didn't realize it when I was a girl, but now that I'm here every day, I see that Mom has become repulsive. She has a strange smell. She makes disgusting sounds. She has old lady habits that make me nauseated. Revolting, gross, nauseating." My own daughter was describing me as if I were a diseased animal. I don't know how much longer I can endure living here, but I have no other option. At least until I land a job and can rent my own place. She was using me. She was putting up with me because she had no alternative, not because she loved me or respected me. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay awake dwelling on Haley's words. Had I truly become repugnant? Was it so unpleasant to live with me? I got out of bed and looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. I saw a 68-year-old woman, slender with wrinkles, with liver spots on her hands, and with white, thinning hair. An old woman. That's what my daughter saw when she looked at me. A disgusting old woman. The next morning, I tried to have a word with Haley. "Honey," I began, "yesterday I overheard you talking on the phone. If my presence bothers you so much, perhaps it's better if you find another arrangement." She looked at me, astonished, as if she couldn't believe I had heard her private conversation. "Mom, I didn't mean for you to hear that. I was just venting to Patricia, that's all." "But it's what you truly believe, isn't it?" "Mom, you know I love you very much. It's just that, well, living together is tough for anyone. We're going through an adjustment period." An adjustment period. As if the issue was the adjustment, not the fact that my mere existence made her nauseated. "Haley, if you want, I can find another place to live. I don't want to be a bother to you and the children." "No, Mom, don't say those things. This is your house. We're the ones who are staying here as a favor." As a favor. That's precisely how I felt, like someone who resided as a favor in her own home. The following days were agonizing. Every move I made, every sound I produced seemed to irritate Haley. "I'm serving your food on a separate plate," she said, "because the kids get grossed out when they see Mom eat." She asked me not to sit on the living room sofa because afterwards it smells like an old woman. When my grandchildren wanted to spend time with me, Haley always came up with a reason to keep them apart. "Michael, don't pester Grandma. She's exhausted. Sarah, come here. Grandma needs to rest." It was as if I were a terminally ill patient who couldn't interact with her own grandchildren. A month ago, things reached a critical point. I was in the kitchen fixing myself a cup of tea when Haley came back from the grocery store. She had a sour look on her face and was loaded down with heavy bags. "Mom, could you move? I need to use the kitchen." "Of course, darling. I'm just making myself some tea." "Oh, Mom, please, you already had tea at 3. Do you really need another one?" "Well, if it's a problem, I won't have it." "It's not that it's a problem. It's just, oh, Mom, I don't know how to say this without upsetting you." "Tell me what's on your mind, Haley." She was quiet for a while, putting the groceries in the refrigerator. Finally, she turned and looked at me with an expression I will never forget. A mix of annoyance, exhaustion, and something worse, genuine disgust. "Mom, the truth is, it's very hard for me to live with you. Everything you do bothers me. The way you eat, the way you breathe, the way you move around a house. It's as if your very presence disgusts me." Disgusts. My daughter had just told me that I was disgusting. "It's not your fault, Mom. It's just that you're old, and older people, well, older people are just naturally repulsive. They have an odd scent. They make strange noises. They have disgusting habits. And I know it's a horrible thing for me to say, but I can't help feeling it." Disgusting old woman. Those were the words my daughter used to characterize me. "Haley," I said with a tranquility I didn't feel, "do you honestly believe I'm disgusting?" "Mom, please don't make me feel worse than I already do. I know what I'm saying is wrong. I know you're my mother and that I owe you respect, but I can't change how I feel. I can't change the fact that when I watch you eat, I feel like vomiting. I can't change the fact that when you're in the same room as me, I feel uncomfortable. I can't change the fact that sometimes when you hug me, I have to hold back the nausea. Nausea. My own embrace made my daughter feel nauseous. I stood there in the kitchen, clutching my cup of tea, looking at the woman who had come from my own body, whom I had nurtured with love for 32 years, whom I had guarded, educated, and cared for, and she was telling me that my existence was repulsive to her. I understand, I said. Don't worry, Haley. It's not your fault that you feel what you feel. You're not mad at me, Mom. No, darling, I'm not mad. I'm just sad. Mom, maybe with time things will get better. Maybe I'll get used to it. Maybe she would get used to enduring my repugnant presence. What a promising prospect for the final years of my life. That night, sitting at my desk, I made the most significant decision of my life. If my presence was so disgusting to my daughter, if my existence caused her so much revulsion, then I was going to disappear forever. But I wasn't going to leave like a defeated and humiliated old woman. I was going to leave like a woman who still had her pride. What Haley didn't know was that her disgusting mother had been very financially savvy throughout her life. The home where we lived was valued at $280,000. I had 2 other apartments that I rented, each worth $140,000. I had savings in the bank totaling another $190,000. In all, I possessed a net worth of $750,000, an inheritance my daughter believed she would one day receive. But after hearing that I was repulsive, that my presence repulsed her, that my hug made her nauseous, I decided that Haley would not see a single penny of that fortune. If I was so revolting, then my money must be too. The following morning, I called my lawyer, Mr. Davis, who had known me for 30 years. Mr. Davis, I need to see you urgently. It's regarding my will and some properties. At his office, I explained the entire situation, how my daughter had told me I was disgusting and how I had resolved to disappear forever. Mrs. Mendelson, are you certain about what you want to do? It's a very drastic decision. Mr. Davis, my daughter told me I'm repulsive, that my presence makes her nauseous. What would you do in my position? I understand your pain, Mrs. Mendelson, but maybe your daughter was just going through a difficult period. The separation, the kids, the financial pressure. Mr. Davis, a person can say many things when they're under pressure, but when someone looks you in the eye and tells you that you sicken them, that comes from the heart. That can't be faked. And what exactly do you want to accomplish? I want to sell everything, the house, the apartments, withdraw all the funds from the bank, and then I want to vanish without a trace. Mr. Davis was silent for a long moment. And where do you intend to go? Anywhere a repulsive old woman can live in peace, Doctor, far from daughters who see her as an object of repulsion. And the money from the sales? That money is coming with me, Mr. Davis, for my new existence. For the next 2 weeks, I set in motion the most intricate scheme of my life. I hired a discreet real estate agent to sell the properties. I informed them it was a rush sale, that I would accept offers below market value to close quickly. Within 10 days, I had sold everything. The house where we lived, I sold for $240,000. The 2 apartments I sold for $115,000 each. I took all my savings out of the bank. In total, I had $660,000 in cash, a fortune that would allow me to live comfortably for the rest of my life anywhere in the world. Meanwhile, Haley didn't notice a thing. I continued to act like the same repulsive old woman, trying to not annoy her with my loathsome presence. She continued to avoid me, speaking to me as little as possible, keeping the children away from me. One afternoon, while she was at a job interview, I seized the opportunity to speak with my grandchildren. Michael, Sarah, Grandma loves you both very much. I want you to always remember that. Why are you saying that, Grandma? Are you going to die? No, my darling, I'm not going to die, but Grandma may have to go on a trip for a very long time. Where are you going, Grandma?
I don't know yet, Michael, but I want you to know that you are the best thing that has ever happened in my life. I gave each of them an envelope with $10,000 in cash. This is for when you are older. It's a gift from your repulsive grandma. Grandma, why do you call yourself repulsive? We don't think you're repulsive. I know, my loves. You see me with eyes of affection, but some people see me with other eyes.
Last Wednesday was the day selected for my departure. Haley had secured a job in an accounting firm and was starting that very morning. The children had classes until 5 in the afternoon. I had the entire day to carry out my plan without interruption. At 8 in the morning, after everyone had left, I called a moving company. "I need you to come today to pick up some furniture." I instructed them to take only the most valuable items: the large TV, the stereo, the computer, some expensive appliances. The rest I left so that Haley would understand the message. At 10 in the morning, the movers had taken everything I wanted. At 11, a taxi arrived that was waiting to take me to the airport. I had one suitcase with clothes for a week and a carry-on bag with the $660,000 in cash, distributed in bills of different denominations. Before leaving, I left a letter on the kitchen table, a letter that I had written and rewritten 10 times until it was perfect. The letter stated, "Haley, since you told me that my presence disgusted you, I decided to give you what you so desired, my permanent absence. I sold everything I had and have left forever. Now you won't have to put up with this repulsive old woman anymore. Be happy. Your disgusting mother." By noon, I was already at the airport, awaiting my flight to Miami. I had chosen the United States because it was the easiest place to disappear. With my money, I could purchase a new identity, rent an apartment, and live comfortably without anyone ever locating me. During the flight, I felt liberated for the first time in months. I was no longer the repulsive old woman who had to tiptoe in her own house. I was no longer the grandmother who was kept away from her grandchildren. I was Eleanor Mendelsohn, a 68-year-old woman with $660,000 and the rest of her life stretched out before her. I arrived in Miami at 8 at night. At the airport, a contact Mr. Davis had found for me was waiting, a man who specialized in assisting people who wanted to start a new life. "Mrs. Mendelsohn, welcome to your new life. Are you ready to disappear?" In a week, I had new documents, a new bank account, a rented apartment in a peaceful Miami neighborhood, and a new phone. Officially, Eleanor Mendelsohn had vanished from the face of the earth. In her place, a new person was born, Eleanor Mills, a retired New York woman who lived comfortably on her savings. Meanwhile, back in Chicago, Haley had arrived home after her first day of work and found my letter. My sister, Patricia, later told me that Haley had called her screaming hysterically. "Aunt Patricia, Mom vanished. She took things from the house and left a letter saying she's gone forever." "And what exactly did the letter say?" asked Patricia her. Haley read her my entire letter. Patricia was silent for a long time. "Haley, did you honestly tell your mother that she disgusted you?" "Yes, but it was in a fit of rage. I didn't mean it." "Haley, your mom is a proud woman. If she left, it's because she is deeply hurt." "Aunt, help me find her. She can't have gone very far. She doesn't have much money." "Do you have any idea how much money your mom had?" "Not much, Aunt. Just a pension, some savings." Patricia laughed bitterly. "Haley, your mom had this house, which is worth a fortune. 2 apartments she rented and savings you can't even fathom. If she left with everything. And if she sold the properties, she must have close to $750,000. Haley fainted. She literally collapsed when Patricia told her how much money she had forfeited by calling me repulsive. When she came to, she started crying like a madwoman. "Aunt, I had no idea Mom had so much money. If I had known, I would never have said those horrible things to her." "Haley, the problem isn't that you didn't know she had money. The problem is that you told your own mother that she was disgusting. You don't do that even if she's poor." "But Aunt, I was stressed, angry, frustrated. I didn't intend to hurt her so badly." "The intention doesn't matter, Haley. Words once spoken cannot be erased, and your mom is a woman who does not forgive humiliation." Patricia was right. I was a woman who did not forgive humiliation, and the greatest humiliation of my life had been hearing my own daughter say that I was disgusting.
During my initial months in Miami, Haley moved heaven and earth to locate me. She hired private detectives, placed ads in newspapers, and contacted law enforcement in several countries. But Eleanor Mendelsohn had completely vanished, and Eleanor Mills was undetectable. Patricia told me on the phone everything that was happening. "Eleanor, your daughter is in a panic. She's lost 30 pounds. She's not eating. She's not sleeping. The kids ask her every day when Grandma's coming back." And what does she tell them? She tells them that Grandma went on a trip, but that she will be back soon. "Patricia, I am not coming back. Not now, not ever." "Sister, maybe your daughter has learned her lesson. Maybe now she appreciates what she lost." "Patricia, if Haley valued me, she wouldn't have told me that I disgusted her. What she values now is the money she lost, not the mother she humiliated." "And what about the grandchildren? Don't you care about the grandchildren?" That question pained me more than Patricia could have imagined. Of course I cared about my grandchildren. I missed them daily. But I had made a decision, and I was going to stand by it. "Patricia, my grandchildren are going to grow up with the mother they chose to have. A mother who is going to teach them that older people are repulsive and that family can be humbled when they are an inconvenience. Perhaps it's better that they don't have the influence of a grandmother who thinks differently." 3 months ago, Patricia told me that Haley had been forced to leave the house because she couldn't afford the rent. She moved into a small apartment with the kids. She is working 2 jobs to make ends meet. "And how are the kids?" "Sad, Eleanor. Very sad. They ask for you every day. Michael told me something that broke my heart," Patricia continued. "He said, 'Aunt Patricia, is it true that Grandma left because we are bad grandchildren? The poor child thinks you left because of them.'" That night, I cried for the first time since I arrived in Miami. I cried because my grandchildren thought I had left because of them. I cried because a decision I had made to punish my daughter was also harming 2 innocent people. But I didn't change my mind. If my grandchildren were suffering, it was because their mother had chosen to humiliate their grandmother instead of respecting her. The consequences of her words were not going to be endured by me alone. Last month, Patricia told me that Haley had been forced to leave the house because she couldn't afford the rent. She moved into a small apartment with the kids. She is working 2 jobs to make ends meet. "And how are the kids?" "Sad, Eleanor. Very sad. They ask for you every day. She said she regrets it, that she would give anything to ask for your forgiveness." "And what does she say in therapy?" "Patricia, if Haley regrets it, it's not because of the words she said to me. She regrets it because of the financial consequences of those words." "Do you really believe that?" "Patricia, if I had been a poor old woman, if I hadn't had properties or savings, do you think Haley would be so desperate to find me?" Patricia was silent. She knew I was right. If I had been a woman without money, Haley would have been glad that I left. The problem was not my absence, it was the lost inheritance.
Here in Miami, I have built a new life. I live in a comfortable apartment near the beach. I have pleasant neighbors who know nothing about my past. I have learned basic English to communicate better. For the first time in years, no one looks at me as if I were repugnant. I have met other retired New York people who live here. We play cards on Thursdays. We go out to lunch on Sundays. We arrange trips on weekends. I have an active social life with people who respect me, who value my company, who do not find my presence repulsive. I met Evelyn, a 65-year-old Colombian widow who lost her husband a couple of years ago. She is an intelligent, refined woman who cooks wonderfully and treats me with genuine kindness. We haven't discussed marriage, but we enjoy each other's company immensely. Evelyn told me last week, "You have a sadness in your eyes that never goes away. What happened to you in Chicago that wounded you so much?" I told her part of my story without going into details about the money. I told her that my daughter had said hurtful things to me, and that's why I had left the country. "And you don't miss your family?" "I miss the grandchildren, Evelyn, but I don't miss the humiliation." "And if your daughter asked for your forgiveness sincerely, if she had truly changed?" "Evelyn, there are things that can be forgiven, and there are things that cannot. When your own daughter tells you that she finds you repulsive, that scars your soul forever." Last week, I received a phone call I wasn't expecting. It was Mr. Davis, my lawyer from Chicago. "Mrs. Mendelson, I need to speak with you about a legal matter." "What's wrong, Mr. Davis?" "Your daughter has hired lawyers to try to challenge the sales of your properties. She alleges that you sold them under emotional distress." "Is that possible, Mr. Davis?" "Mrs. Mendelson, you sold your properties while in full possession of your mental faculties. I have all the signed papers, all the psychological evaluations I asked you to have. No one can challenge those sales." "And what else does my daughter want to do?" "She wants the court to declare you your legal guardian, alleging that you are mentally unfit to handle money." "Based on what?" "Based on the fact that a sane mother would never abandon her daughter and grandchildren." "Mr. Davis, would a sane mother put up with her daughter telling her that she disgusts her?" "Of course not, Mrs. Mendelson, but your daughter is desperate. She has lost her home. She is working 2 jobs. The children are in therapy. She is doing everything she can to get the money back." "Let her do what she wants, Mr. Davis, but she won't get a thing." Yesterday, Patricia called me with news that surprised me. "Eleanor, Haley moved again. Now she lives in a boarding house with the kids." "A boarding house?" "Yes, sister. She can't pay the rent for the apartment. The children are no longer in private school because she can't afford the tuition." "And how are they?" "Bad, Eleanor. Very bad. Michael asked me if you died, and that's why you haven't returned. Sarah barely speaks at all since they moved to the boarding house." "Patricia, I didn't choose for my grandchildren to suffer. Haley chose to humiliate me, knowing that she had children who depended on me." "And is there nothing Haley can do for you to forgive her?" "Patricia, would you forgive someone who told you that you were repulsive? Your own daughter." "I don't know, sister. What she did to you is so painful." "Then you understand why I can't forgive her. This morning, while I was having coffee on the balcony of my apartment, looking out at the sea, I thought about everything that had happened in these 9 months. My daughter had lost her home, her financial stability, her peace of mind. My grandchildren had lost their school, their home, their grandmother. I had lost my family,
but I had gained my dignity. Was it worth it? Was it worth it for two innocent children to suffer for their mother's cruel words? I don't know. What I do know is that I could not continue to live with someone who saw me as something repulsive. Evelyn asked me yesterday if I didn't regret anything. Eleanor, don't you regret having gone so far? Don't you regret having cut off all contact with your family? I regret many things, Evelyn. I regret having raised a daughter capable of telling her mother that she disgusts her. I regret not having set boundaries before. I regret having tolerated humiliation. But you don't regret having left. No, Evelyn, I don't regret having left. I regret not having left sooner. And if your daughter came here to Miami to ask for your forgiveness? Evelyn, my daughter doesn't know where I am, and even if she did, it's already too late. There are words that kill affection forever, and the words she said to me were of that kind.
2 weeks ago, I received a phone call that changed everything. It was Patricia, but this time she was crying. Eleanor, I have terrible news. Michael is in the hospital. What happened to my grandson? He tried to take his own life, sister. He sliced his wrist with a razor blade. The phone dropped from my hands. My 12-year-old grandson had attempted to end his own life. Patricia, how is he now? He's alive, Eleanor, but psychologically very unwell. When they found him, he had a letter in his hand addressed to you. What did the letter say? It said, Grandma, I'm going to where you are because I can't live here without you. Forgive me for being a bad grandson. I love you. Eleanor, Patricia went on, this boy thinks you abandoned him because of him. I began to cry like a child. My grandson had tried to kill himself because he thought I had abandoned him. Patricia, I want to talk to him. Eleanor, Michael is in intensive care. He can't speak on the phone, but the doctors say that the only thing he keeps repeating is your name. I want Grandma. I want Grandma. And Haley is shattered, sister. She blames herself for everything that happened. I didn't sleep that night. I walked along the beach for hours, thinking about my grandson, hospitalized in a psychiatric facility, thinking about the consequences of my decision. I had wanted to punish my daughter, but I had ended up punishing an innocent child. The next morning, I called Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, I need to get back to Chicago urgently. My grandson is in the hospital. Mrs. Mendelson, are you sure? If you go back, your daughter will know where to find you. Mr. Davis, my grandson tried to commit suicide because he thought I abandoned him. I don't care what happens to my daughter anymore. Do you want me to arrange a flight? Yes, Mr. Davis, the first available flight. In 6 hours, I was on a plane returning to Chicago after 9 months of self-imposed exile. I only had a small suitcase and $45,000 in cash with me. The rest of the money I had left in Miami in an account that only Evelyn knew about. I arrived in Chicago at 10 in the morning. Patricia was waiting for me at the airport. When she saw me, she started to weep. Eleanor, thank you for coming back. Michael has been better since yesterday when we told him you were coming. How is Haley? Very bad, sister. She's lost 30 pounds. She's on antidepressants. She can barely work. And Sarah? Sarah is doing better than Michael, but she's also very affected. She has a hard time comprehending why Grandma left without saying goodbye. During the ride to the hospital, Patricia updated me on everything that had occurred. Haley had been forced to stop working because of her depression. The children were living mostly with Patricia because Haley couldn't take care of them. Eleanor, your daughter has hit rock bottom. She has lost everything, her house, her job, her stability, her mental health, and worst of all, she almost lost her son. Patricia, I didn't want things to go this far. I know, sister, but words have consequences, and Haley is suffering all the consequences at once. We arrived at the hospital at noon. Michael was in a room on the child psychiatry floor. When he saw me enter, he started to cry and hugged me as if I were the only thing that kept him alive. Grandma, I thought I would never see you again. I thought you had left because you didn't love me. Michael, my darling, Grandma loves you more than anything in the world. I didn't leave because of you, my life. I left because I had issues with your mom. But have you come back for good? I looked him in the eyes, those innocent eyes that didn't understand anything about what had happened between his mother and I couldn't lie to him. Michael, Grandma came to see you, to hug you, to tell you how much she loves you, but I don't know if I'm going to stay forever. Why, Grandma? What did Mom do that was so bad that you can't forgive her? Mom said things to me that hurt me a lot, my love. Things that a child should never say to a parent. But you can't forgive her? Mom cries every day saying she was horrible to you. Michael, there are things that can be forgiven and there are things that cannot be forgiven. But the important thing is that you know that Grandma loves you no matter what happens between your mom and me. I spent the entire afternoon with Michael. I told him stories. We played cards. He told me everything that had happened during these 9 months. Grandma, Mom says you were a millionaire and that because of her, we lost all the money. And what do you think about that, Michael? I think I don't care if you were a millionaire or poor. Grandma, I missed you, not your money. And Mom? I think she did miss the money, Grandma. She always talked about the money we had lost. Children notice everything. They understand everything, even if they don't know how to express it. At 6 in the afternoon, Haley arrived at the hospital. When she saw me, she stood in the doorway, not daring to enter. She had changed completely. She was gaunt, pale, with deep dark circles under her eyes, her hair a mess, her clothes old. She was the specter of my daughter. Mom, she said with a shaky voice, thank you for coming back. I came for Michael, Haley. I came because my grandson tried to kill himself thinking I had abandoned him. Mom, I know I have no right to ask you for anything, but I need to talk to you. Talk? Not here. We can go somewhere private. We left Michael with Patricia and went to the hospital cafeteria. Haley sat across from me and began to cry uncontrollably. Mom, I'm the worst daughter in the world. There's no forgiveness for what I did to you. Haley, do you know precisely what you did to me? I told you that you disgusted me, Mom. I told you that you were repulsive, that your presence repulsed me. They were the cruelest words that can be said to a parent. And why did you say those things to me? Because I was angry, frustrated, and bitter about my separation. I took all my anger out on you, who were the easiest target, because I knew you would always forgive me. Do you realize what you just said, Haley? What, Mom? That you mistreated me because you knew I would always forgive you. That you took advantage of my love. She was silent for a long time. You're right, Mom. I exploited your love. I exploited your patience. I exploited your kindness. And when you left, I realized what I had lost. Did you realize you had lost your mother? Or did you realize you had lost a fortune? At first, Mom, I'm going to be honest, I was more desperate about the money than about you. I thought, I lost $1 million because of my big mouth. But then, when the months went by, when I saw my children asking for you every day, I realized that I had lost something much more valuable. What thing? I had lost the best mother in the world, Mom. I had lost the woman who raised me, who protected me, who always helped me. I had lost my hero. Haley, if I was truly your hero, how could you tell me that I disgusted you? Because I'm an idiot, Mom. Because I'm ungrateful. Because I didn't know how to appreciate what I had until I lost it. And now, what do you want? I want you to forgive me, Mom. I want you to come back home. I want us to be a family again. Haley, I don't have a home anymore. I sold the house where we lived. I know, Mom, but we can rent something together. I have a job now. I can help with the expenses. And how do I know you won't mistreat me again when we're living together again? Because I learned the most painful lesson of my life, Mom. Because I almost lost my son because of my own actions. Because I realized that without you, we are nothing. Haley, you said older people were naturally repulsive. I'm still an older person. Do I still seem repulsive to you? Mom, please don't make me repeat those awful words. I'm embarrassed I ever said them. You're not repulsive, Mom. You're the most beautiful thing I have in my life. And if I bother you again with my old woman habits, Mom, you can do whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. It's your right. I have no right to criticize you, to judge you, to mistreat you. Haley, the words you said to me aren't erased by apologies. I know, Mom, but maybe they can be erased by actions. Let me show you that I can be the daughter you deserve.
That night, I stayed in a hotel near the hospital. I couldn't sleep, thinking about everything that had occurred, about all the choices I had made. My grandson had tried to commit suicide because of me. My daughter had hit rock bottom because of me. I had wanted to teach a lesson, but I had shattered a family. The next day, I went back to the hospital early. Michael was better, more cheerful. "Grandma, are you going to stay?" "I don't know, Michael. It's complicated." "But are you going to come see me?" "Of course, my love. Even if I live on the moon, I'll come see you." Sarah arrived with Patricia at 10 in the morning. When she saw me, she ran to hug me. "Grandma, I missed you so much. Why did you leave without saying goodbye?" "Because Grandma was very upset, my love. Sometimes we adults do things that are not right when we are very angry." "And you're not angry anymore?" "I'm less angry, Sarah, but what happened still hurts." "Did Mom ask for your forgiveness?" "Yes, my love. Mom asked for my forgiveness." "And are you going to forgive her?" "I don't know, Sarah. Forgiving is difficult when someone hurts you a lot." Haley arrived at noon with a bouquet of flowers and a letter. "Mom, I wrote this for you. These are all the things I couldn't tell you in 9 months." I read the letter right there. It was a long, detailed apology where she acknowledged every mistake, every mistreatment, every humiliation she had made me endure. The letter ended, "Mom, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I was the worst daughter in the world, but if you give me a chance, I will spend the rest of my life trying to be the daughter I should have always been. I love you, Mom. Your repentant daughter, Haley." What do you think of the letter, Mom? It's very well written, Haley, but letters are easy to write. Change is difficult to maintain. Let me try, Mom. Let me show you that I can change. And if you can't change, what if in 6 months you mistreat me again? Then you have the right to leave again, Mom, but this time forever, with no possibility of forgiveness. Haley, I'm not the same woman who left 9 months ago. I have lived alone. I have learned to value my independence. I have met people who respect me. I don't know if I want to depend on a daughter's goodwill again. So you're not going to give me any chance? I'm going to give you a chance, but with very clear conditions. Whatever you want, Mom. First condition, if we live together again, I will pay my portion of all expenses. I don't want to live anywhere as a favor. Mom, you don't have to pay for anything. It's necessary for me, Haley. I want to live as an equal, not as a burden. Okay, Mom. What's the second condition? Second condition, at the first mistreatment, at the first humiliation, at the first time you make me feel like I'm an inconvenience, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back. I accept, Mom. Are there more conditions? Third condition, we are going to live in a neutral place. Not in your house, not in my house, but in a new place where we both start from scratch. And how are we going to pay for a new place? Haley, I brought money from Miami. Not everything, but enough to rent something decent. Mom, you still have money? I have some, Haley. I'm not a millionaire like before, but I'm not poor. And the rest of the money? The rest stayed in Miami in case I have to go back. Are you planning to go back to Miami? If you treat me badly again, yes, I'll go back. And this time there won't be any third chances. It won't be necessary, Mom. I swear on my children. Haley's vows no longer convinced me as they once did, but I was willing to give her a chance for my grandchildren. A week ago, we left the hospital with Michael. We found a 3-bedroom apartment in a quiet neighborhood. It's a nice, comfortable place where everyone has their own space. Haley is religiously fulfilling all her promises. She treats me with respect, includes me in conversations, and values my opinions. But I remain cautious. I know it's easy to behave well for a week, for a month. The hard part is sustaining the change forever. That's why I'm keeping my account in Miami. That's why I didn't sell my return ticket.
The children are happy to have their grandmother back. Michael tells me everything that has happened during these months, how he missed our conversations, how he dreamed that I would return. Sarah helps me cook as we used to. She tells me about school gossip. She asks me for advice about her friends. Haley got a better job at a company that allows her to work part-time to be with the children more. Mom, she told me yesterday, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I know I didn't deserve it. Haley, opportunities are not deserved. They are either seized or wasted. I'm not going to waste this one, Mom. I promise you. Haley, don't make me promises. Just treat me well and it will be enough. And if I make a mistake, if one day I'm in a bad mood and I speak to you poorly without meaning to, Haley, there is a difference between being in a bad mood and telling your mother that she disgusts you. A huge difference. And how will I know what the limit is? You will know, Haley. Your heart will tell you when you are crossing the line. Evelyn calls me every day from Miami. Eleanor, how are things going with your family? Fine, Evelyn, for now. Do you miss Miami? I miss the tranquility, Evelyn. I miss not having to be on guard all the time, waiting for the next mistreatment. And your daughter? Has she really changed? I don't know, Evelyn. It's too soon to tell, but she's making an effort. And if it doesn't work out, are you going back? If it doesn't work out, I'm coming back, but this time to stay forever. Last night, while the 4 of us were having dinner together, Michael asked me something that made me reflect. Grandma, have you forgiven all of us? Who do I have to forgive, Michael? Mom, for having treated you poorly. Me, for having thought you didn't love me. Sarah, for not having done anything to stand up for you. Michael, you and Sarah have nothing to be forgiven for. You are children. You didn't have to defend me from your mother. And have you forgiven, Mom? I looked at Haley, who was anxiously awaiting my answer. Michael, forgiving is something that doesn't happen from one day to the next. It's something that is built over time, with actions, with genuine changes. But you are going to try to forgive her? I'm going to try, my love, but your mom has to help me forgive her. After dinner, Haley and I were left alone in the kitchen washing the dishes. Mom, what can I do to help you forgive me? Haley, just keep being the daughter you are now, respectful, affectionate, grateful. And are you going to stay? Haley, I'm going to try to stay, but I can't promise you anything. What do you need to feel secure enough to stay? I need time, Haley. Time to believe that you have truly changed. How much time? I don't know.
Maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe more. And if in a year you convince me that I've changed, are you going to close your account in Miami? If in a year you convince me that you've changed, I'll bring the rest of the money from Miami.
To you who have listened to me this far, to you who know my whole story, I want to ask you something very important. What words do you use when you talk to the people you love? Do you treat them with respect, with affection, with patience? Or do you believe that because they love you, you have the right to mistreat them? My daughter believed she could tell me that I disgusted her because I would always forgive her. She was wrong. There are words that kill love, that destroy bonds, that can never be erased. And when you realize the harm you have done, it may be too late. Have you ever told someone in your family that they disgust you? Have you told them that they are repulsive, gross, or unpleasant? If the answer is yes, I want you to know something. Those words are etched into that person's heart forever. And maybe one day, when you least expect it, that person will disappear from your life forever. My advice is this: be mindful of the words you use with your family. Words have the power to heal and the power to destroy. A word spoken with love can brighten someone's day. A word spoken with cruelty can change an entire life. And if you have ever said something horrible to someone you love, don't wait until it's too late to ask for forgiveness. Don't wait until that person vanishes to realize what you've lost. Ask for forgiveness now while you still have time. Because I was fortunate. My daughter asked for my forgiveness before it was too late for good. But not everyone is that lucky. Not everyone gets a second chance. Do you have someone to whom you owe an apology? Someone you hurt with cruel words? If so, don't wait any longer. Call them, find them, tell them you're sorry before it's too late. And tell me, from what country are you listening to me? And tell me if this story made you reflect on the words you use with your family. Because that reflection can save a relationship. It can prevent someone else from having to sell everything and disappear to regain their dignity. My story is not over yet. I don't know if I'm going to stay in Chicago or if I'm going to go back to Miami. That depends on whether my daughter has truly changed or if she is just putting on an act until things settle down. But what I do know is this: I will never again allow anyone to treat me like something repulsive, neither my daughter nor anyone else, because I have learned that it is better to be alone with dignity than accompanied by humiliation. And that lesson may be worth more than all the money I lost.